Hey, today I'm going to talk about painting, terrain in particular, and really looking forward to this. For years I've had plastic models as my terrain. It was like, oh, you're going to battle in Plastic City, and that's what all the games always look for, unprimed, unpainted models all strewn across my battlefields. Well, that's going to change today. I'm going to begin to attempt to paint some structures and terrain. Really looking forward to painting this piece in particular. This will be kind of like the primer, see how it goes, and if it looks good, I'm going to continue on to this structure here. This nice one. It's a manufacturum. It's like a Citadel miniature building. I used in a kit bashed with these ones here. Lots of fun as a kit goes, and for your value I think you get a lot for it, considering it is a GW product and all. Yeah, so I'm going to start with base colors on this. I'm basically going to make it an Imperial City, which is essentially what it is. So I'm going to give it some royalty, some colors, some brass, some silver, some metal. I was really wondering as far as the whole of the building's tone, color, and I was leaning towards going to gray. But you know, again, that gray was going to match what I had previously, which was unpainted, unprimed plastic kits. And so I'm going with a different color today for the. It's a sort of a gray. It's a brown gray, and it's sort of a dungy colored gray. It's a. That's not the one. That's lead belcher. That's going to be my metal. And this is a brass. And this is the one I'm looking for here. It's called Storm Vermin Fur. And that's what it is. It's an off color. You can take a close look at that. I'll use that as the base color for the whole of the kit, and then go from there with the metallics. This will be a 3-part video. I'll go through the base colors, this one, and the next I plan to do the washes, and that should really define some of the texture and colors in the kit itself. And then the next one after that would be going back over those washed areas and doing a little detail work, just highlighting some of the texture. All dry brush techniques should go pretty quickly, really. So I'm going to demonstrate that today. Let's get started. You can take a look at this kit here for a moment. This is the piece I'll be painting. I've set it up to be modular with this structure, so it can be put in different formations. Changes the footprint of the layout. Of the structure itself. Really should get these magnetized. I'd recommend some rare earth magnets, and maybe on the corners just having a pair of magnets there and dug into this plastic a little, drop a little magnet in there, and these should be fairly suitable and stay where they should. In gameplay you don't want something like that there. So let me go get some water. You take a look at this model here. This is the color I'm going to start with. Storm Vermin Fur. Now for today, I am going to use a largish brush, something of what they call, this is the Citadel tank brush. You can use just about any old brush. I'm using what I have here, so I'm going to get that a little wet there, just to loosen up the hairs. Give the can of paint a good shake. You really want that color to blend. You know, a toothpick is good also. I'm going to actually pour a little out because I'm going to use a fair amount of this, I reckon. And I'll pour it onto here as it comes. There we go. Get some of that on the brush. Now to dry brush, if you want to come take a close look here, I'm going to get the brush pretty damp, full of paint there. But then I'm going to take a napkin and knock a lot of that wet paint off my brush. Now I'll go on to the underside of the building, and you'll see as I go through. Just gonna go through. Starting with the inside interior of the building first here, and just trying to just hit all the bumps and the crevices and get it generally a bit of a color on there. You don't want the model to just be black, so as I continue, I will learn as I go. It's really hard, prone to do. This paint is kind of watery. I'm going to have to get some more pigment onto my brush. It's not exactly coming out as I had envisioned it firsthand. First off, here we go, a little more color. It's still very watery, I'm afraid. So this is a layer paint. It is not a base, which is a more pigment heavy as far as the Citadel range goes, and but it's gonna have to do. So it's a trial and error. You know, I started with the underside, the interior of the building, where not likely to be seeing it much. So in the shadows of the game. What's nice about these kits is you don't have to put a whole lot of work into them. You just simply get some color on them and they look fairly decent. I tend to spend a lot of time on my my figures itself, the troops and stuff. I'm always trying to get them to look right, and it does take some effort, and I find it worthwhile myself. But it's not for everyone, nor does it have to be. So have at it, just go for it. That's what I'm doing here, and hope you enjoy it. So there's some of that. There we go for it. This is basically all the concrete that I'm painting on the building with this tone. Most of the building is a concrete color. I'll highlight the areas that aren't. Just going through, you see that I can bring out the details of the model. Well, I have to admit, my dry brush technique isn't so dry brush technique at this moment, so I'm pretty sure that as I do the next phase, which is the shades and the washes, that these details will come back that I am so graciously painting over at the moment. Yeah, but I do want to get primarily the whole building the right color as my base. I'm not building a black walled city after all, so it is essentially copper, brass, and other aluminums and metals, I'd say, tins. There's going to be some corrosion. I'm going to have this structure, by the end, it'll all look fairly run down and been exposed to the elements for some time. That's the idea here. I'm going to need more paint. this is definitely taking longer than I thought it would initially. But hope you're learning something here. I'll take some paint, get it on my brush, and then knock the paint off the brush. That's the tricky part, is being sure to knock enough of that paint off so you don't lob on the paint too much, as I am doing again here. So I'm just brushing over everything, trying to get the majority of the details. Basically, I'm trying to get it to not look black, but leaving some shadows and smoked out areas that would be a little gray in itself, you know. It's an interesting color. It's darker than I thought it might be, but I think it's working out well for me. I like what I see. Now you can experiment with all kinds of colors and ideas, and I really tossed around what would I what kind of city did I want to portray on my battlefield. Basically, I have enough terrain for a full table's worth, so it should thematically be of the same guild, same planet, same citadel city. Yeah, as I'm thinking about it, and I started thinking about different imperial, old imperial armies, and what would make sense on my battlefield, maybe contrast with some of the armies I have, and I thought a Voistrian Empire might be suitable. And they used to wear the kazets. Forget the name of the hats the Russians sort of wear. They're large, fur-laden cassettes. Not recalling what they are, but very cool. It's a cool look. It's a neat army. If you ever find yourself interested in imperial army builds, Voistrians are a nice alternative to the standard Cadian models. Now, there's some discussion that they're actually changing those soon too. So there's a lot of talk on that front. So we'll see what the future holds. GW seems to be doing a lot of good things as far as interest at the moment for young and old people alike. So it's encouraging. We'll see how it goes. I enjoy these models. I know the game can be sometimes iffy, rules-wise, to tend to be laden with too many. I tend to think. These are my opinions. They don't belong to anyone but me, and I do enjoy them. I tend to build quite rapidly, and painting is not my strong point, but I'm giving it a good long go here. And yeah, stay tuned for further tutorials as I go and as I learn. This is actually one of the first sets of terrain I've ever painted, and seems to be going along pretty smoothly right now. So you can see that the building is no longer the standard black at the moment. I think I'm about done with that color. Maybe I'll do the interior walls just a hair more to find some of those. It's quite wet now.